Hello, welcome to another QA-Automan tutorial. In this lesson, I'm actually going to be going over Jenkins for the second time. This time, hopefully, I don't have any issues that I was running into last time. Honestly, I have no idea what the problem was before. I redid it. I deleted everything, reinstalled, and it just worked. Um, so we're gonna try to go through it again. Hopefully, you don't run into the same issue I did. But let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do is go to Jenkins.io, and this is where you can download the latest Jenkins. I'm downloading Jenkins 2. Feel free to use the old 1.6, but as right now, 2 seems to be the new UI. It's a little more fancy. So check that out. So just download your Jenkins. And when you download Jenkins, you will end up with a RAR file or WAR file. And now this WAR file we want to unpack and run in Jenkins. So to do that, you want to run it in your command line. So I'm going to get my command line. Hopefully you can see here. I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't think I can. But bear with me. I'll just cd desktop because that's where mine's located. Just go to your location of your WAR file. Mine's on the desktop, so I'm going to run it straight off my desktop. That's fine. It will create these files inside your username /.jenkins. So it doesn't matter where you unpack it, it will unpack it there. So to run and unpack this, we're going to Java. Make sure Java is installed. You should have Java installed at this point. Java space dash jar, and we're going to run the Jenkins.war. So here we go. Running. So when you run this on your local, it's going to start unpacking everything, and then it will create this little looks like a UDID, your password. You see what my password is right now. That's not a problem because it changes every time you install. Plus it's on my local, so yeah. So I'm gonna copy this guy just to have in my clipboard. Now let's open up some Jenkins. So I'm gonna my browser, and I'm running it on my local. It will actually be localhost port 8080. Oh, we're back online. Okay. So when the first time you're logging in, you have to unlock Jenkins. So I got my password from here, and you're gonna paste that in. Paste, and we're gonna continue. I don't care about remembering it. So you'll come up with a prompt between install suggested plugins and select plugins to install. You can select the plugins you want, but I'm going to just install the suggested plugins. So let's do that real quick. You can okay, so this is going to start installing all these plugins, and I'll give you like a little rundown on some of the more important ones. Ant plugin, so you can execute all your Maven. SSH to the slaves, which is pretty cool. So you can SSH directly, run some commands inside that slave. Let's see, we have the mailer plugin, the email extension. So when jobs are finished and it sends out emails, you can actually send out emails based on the status of your jobs that you're running in Jenkins. So if a status fails, it will send a failed, and you can only send it to like certain people, so you're not just spamming everybody. Things like that. Obviously Github, that's huge and that's really important. Let's see, Gradle for all your Android. Let's see, Workspace Clean Up. All that's doing is pretty much when you build out your projects and you create, let's see, you build out your project, it will download all of your files into a particular location, which is called the workspace. You can just delete it. Just a quick button. There's some timestamper, adds timestamps to the console when it's building in the job. Just simple, fun things like that. So, we go over as many of these plugins as we can over time. We're not going to get too carried away in the beginning. I'm definitely going to be showing you some very just quick, basic how to get Jenkins going. Oh my gosh, here we are 5 hours later. Okay, so you can create your first admin user. I'm going to do that now. I'll just be Mr. Vito Pro. My password is secret. Something super simple. That doesn't matter. I'll be QA-Automan, and then that bothers me. I need it to be capital. Email address. This doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. No, it definitely matters. Save and finish. Start using Jenkins. So you notice that when I signed in as QA-Automan, and you are an admin user when you did that. You can also sign in as just admin by logging out. You can type in admin, and then you can paste in your password wherever you stored that, and you can log admin, and then where are you? Password. Oh, I stand corrected. Okay. Then instead, I guess when you create your user, it just replaces your admin user. So that's interesting. Didn't know that. Thought you can just admin create. So here's Jenkins. Let's zoom in here. So what do you have? You have a couple things that you should know about. Build queue. This is where all of your jobs will queue up, and whenever there's an available builder, it will take that build and start running it. And here is all of your executors, and you'll probably have multiple slaves, and these slaves are just other computers that Jenkins connects to and uses those computers to build out or run your jobs. So this build executor is actually on this machine itself, the local machine that Jenkins is on, usually called the master. I highly recommend that you run your stuff on slaves. Just for this tutorial, I'm gonna just build everything here. You want to have Jenkins just kind of handle just Jenkins, stuff, and have slaves handle all of your other builds. So first things first, though, we need to do some management. And one of the first things we're going to do is, I love how there's already a new Jenkins available. We're going to configure, and we're going to set a, where is it? Git. Did I miss it? So this configure, by the way, is all of the configurations for Jenkins, and just kind of the certain like global properties, the location. So if you actually have a domain, you can actually have it and set it here. I don't need to configure any of that right now. Here we go. So GitHub. So I'm going to be using GitHub for this tutorial. If you do not have GitHub, I could probably do something like Subversion later, but I'm pretty sure most people are using GitHub nowadays. I say I could be wrong too. I should stop saying facts like that. So, I've just, around me, I've noticed a lot of people using GitHub. So first things first, we're going to add a GitHub server. And here we're going to add a credentials. And I'm going to add a Jenkins credential. And if you're going to set this up with GitHub, which I need to sign into, your GitHub will require, you want to do a secret text for this. In GitHub, when you go to your profile and you go to your repositories, Where is it? Settings? Yeah. Personal access tokens. So in GitHub's personal access token, you want to create a new one, and which I have already. I've created one, and I'm going to sign in. I need to get the credentials for that. Oh my gosh, two-factor auth. Let me get. Yep. And two-factor. Let me get my phone. All right, two-factor. What is my code? Code. Auth. Where are you? There it is. Put in my secret 6-digit code. Sign in. Okay. So you're going to create a personal token. Make sure it has access to your repos. That's important. So paste that in there. Should just give it an ID. I'm going to say GitHub repos. Oh, oops. There we go. Has to be like something simple. GitHub repo. And description. This is linked to my repo. Whatever you want to call it. Add. After you add it, you want to make sure to click the drop down. This is linked to my repo. And test connection. Oh, what? That's interesting. Okay, let's save. I'm going to credentials. Jenkins, global, edit. Okay. There we go. And edit. Save. Okay. We're just redoing it just for sanity's sake. I don't know why that didn't work. Let's go back to Git. And test connection. There we go. Perfect. So, verified and save. So now we have this set up to GitHub, which is huge because our job is going to check out our code and then run our tests. By the way, I'm going to be running our tests here. Yeah, and I'm going to probably be using Maven as well. So just look out for that when I get there. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new job or new item. This button do the same thing. Create new job. We're going to name this one Web Integration Tests, and we're going to make it a freestyle job. If you notice, there's a bunch of other jobs. Pipeline, multi-configuration, folder, multi-branch, all of these fun, cool little projects. Majority of the time, it's freestyle. You can do a lot of these things with the freestyle project. These are kind of like more constructed jobs. So it kind of removes a lot of the different features that you're required when you're building. So, so freestyle, and then you click OK. Okay, so now you're going to come to the configuration for these jobs. And these tabs will just take you to the part of the job, because these things will get enormous. Oh my gosh. I have some that are just pages on pages on pages. So really try to, these tabs really will help you. So we're going to do some just real basic things. We're going to skip over some of these things in the job, something you don't need to worry about. But first off is the project name. Dashes, always. Don't use spaces. I recommend never to use spaces because if you notice, my URL is the name is in the URL. So adding spaces makes it a little weird. So I would recommend no spaces. Let's see. You have your discard old builds, GitHub project, all these little check boxes here. Don't worry about these right now, though. Let me say, I highly suggest you discard old builds. Over time, Jenkins, if you never do this, it will store every build ever. Like for all the jobs, you can have 100 jobs and they're running 100 times a day. Those logs add up. So do something like maybe 2 weeks. It's like 14 days. Keep 50. This is plenty. Like this will not break anything. I mean, should be enough. So really think about you discard old builds. I think that should be just auto checked. What else do we do? We're gonna skip this. This is gonna be huge later, but for now we're just going to skip this guy. Source code. So Git, where the magic happens. Don't worry about the credentials. We want the repo. So let me get I think this is it. What? No, wait. Oops, this one? There we go. Alright, adding that. Don't worry about advanced. Let's see, we want to do origin master. Just going to pull from master. You can pick any branch you want. Build triggers. So here you can have it build using a cron. You can say, oh, I want to do it every hour or every minute. I think this one's every minute or every hour. Every hour, whatever you want. It's a cron. So you can have it just kick off every day, however you want. We're going to do this kind of on demand, is just build when we want. The build environment, add timestamps always. You don't have to worry about this. Magic. So here's where the magic is. The build step. So here we are going to execute, we're going to do Maven. I did a tutorial on Maven and how we execute from that. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use Maven. So our goal here, what is our goals? We're going to run, let's see, clean install, and we're going to do some of the magic built-in Maven plugins. And we're going to do groups. And what groups do we want to run? In this case, let's run page loads. Let's do page loads, P1 and P2. Let's just run them all. We'll kick off everything. So we'll run page loads, and comma P1, comma P2. So when I kick this off, it will run all the groups. Now, one other thing, remember, we actually have a properties file here. We can actually inject this properties file as well if you want to, or you don't. But let's just do it for the sake of just doing. And you do the same thing like we did before. So it would be, property manager dot file equals. Now, this is where it gets a little magic happening. When you put this here, this is going to start from the root. And the root is, it's going to download this. It's going to start from this tutorial folder. So you will just start from source all the way to this local properties file. So I'm going to get the path and paste it in here. And we're going to skip all the way to source, because our root is tutorial. So always keep that in mind. So it's always going to be starting from source and do forward slashes. So now we have our properties file, and our properties file at the moment is set to Firefox and not use grid. So, okay. And last one is, oh, this doesn't look good. I'm going to zoom out. Add post build step. So you can add all kinds of different things like email when the job is finished. You can set a status in GitHub. You can you can do all kinds of. You can actually execute another job after. For now, I don't really have an email server set up, so we can't really send emails at the moment. So I just wanted to kick this off. So I'm going to save it. So here we go. Our first build. So on Jenkins, here's what it looks like. You have your status ball. Blue means pass, red means fail, yellow means unstable. You'll start to get an idea of that. This this little sun, it's Jenkins' little weather. If you have consecutive passes or successes, this will stay sunny. You always want to keep it sunny. The more fails that occur, it'll start to get a little cloudy, and then it'll start to get a little rainy, and then it goes thunderstorm. It gets it goes extreme, 0 to 60 real fast. And then the rest of our data, like when we're at last success, failure, so on and so forth. And of course, at the far end, your build. So we're going to kick it off. So let's do that. So when I kick this off, the things that are going to happen is it's going to check out from GitHub. It's going to check it out in Jenkins. It's going to run our build here, and you will see it running. I think we set it to Firefox. It'll start running Firefox. So let's build it and see what happens. So I kicked it off. You'll see down here our first build, and this was our little progress bar. The first time it runs, it will do the whole barbershop stripes. If you click it, it will take you to the console of everything that's happening. However, there was a failure. Let's see. So if you notice, it did execute. However, it failed to kick off some things, and let's figure out why. So browser, it got the Firefox, and it ran the before method. You know what, though? Oh, we have the before class, the page loads. We don't have... It ran our driver. Interesting. I wonder what happened. Get driver, does it print out when a driver's used? Huh. Checking. We're not using grid, so that's that. Yeah, it says, yeah, browser Firefox, so it created something. Test login page was failure. Interesting. I wonder what happened. Failed tests, total tests. The rest is history. Oh. On project, there were test failures. So out of the 5, it ran to... I don't know. Let's see. Let's run this locally and see what happens. I think there might be compilation issues. Let's go to our... Let's just run this, see what happens. Now we're doing some debugging. We're going to figure out what happened. So this worked, no problem. Even though we have test fails, which we know about, there should be tests passing. Login page, load page was successful. Did we see a load page was successful? Oh, it did run. But why didn't it run on my computer? Interesting. And this one failed. let's see, one more thing. Load page before method ran, and then this page ran. I wonder, and the driver ran, right? Let's do this. Build one more time. Did I miss it? Let's see. There it is. Haha! See? It's doing it. It's doing it. Look at it go. Doing magic. Okay. So it was just behind our Firefox. So we know we have tests failed, right? We checked it, we ran it locally, we saw that tests were failing, but we are seeing that it's kicking off, and that's what we're looking for. But couple things we should notice. The first thing is, see, as Git ran, it checked out our repo, and when it checks out our repo, if you go to integration tests, you'll notice it has a workspace. This is what is on the Jenkins machine and what was checked out. Here's all the data, all the things that are running here. So it checked it all out. Let's go back to our console. By the way, I'm clicking the little ball to take you straight to console. So after it checked it out, then you'll notice right here, this is what it kicked off. It kicked off this Maven clean. It ran all of our Maven commands here, and that's what kicked off Maven and ran all of our tests, which is pretty cool. So that's kind of a basic job that you can set up and just start running your tests when you want on demand. Now I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to do something kind of cool here. If you go back to your job, the thing I talked about, this project is parameterized. You can add a parameter, and these parameters get passed into your system environment variables, which is amazing, right? So here, now we can add a choice. Like here, let me go through. You have your booleans, you have your choice. You can add credentials. You can have strings, multi-line string parameters, a password, which is really important, just in case you add a password every time. But for right now, I'm actually going to do a browser. So first things first is let's go back to our tests. When it creates a browser, it is looking for a specific property type, which is right here, browser. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to add some of the strings. So Firefox, and we'll just do Chrome for now, just those two. Chrome. And you can add a description. Browser it runs on. Boom. Alright, so let's save this here. Now, when you click on your build with parameters, you can actually select what you want to run it on. Now, to get this to work with your code, we're going to have to add that in. So, first thing is we're going to if statement system dot get env browser, and we're going to check if this is null or empty. So let's do string utils dot is not empty. Oops. Here, zoom in here a little bit. So if system.getEnv is not empty, then it will equal system.env. Otherwise, pull it from the properties file. Okay? So there's that. Is there any... Let's see. ignore this, ignore this. This is, oh, interesting. I need this real quick. I was playing around with some fun things here. So let's add these back. Add them back. Add them back. Sorry, let's do this real quick. There we go. File save. I'm going to check this in real quick. Okay, Git. Oh, come on, what is going on? Why is it not kicking off? Git show. Okay, or don't. Oh my gosh. There we go. I was like, come on, Git. Like, let's not do that. Okay. Take a little bit. That's fine. There we go. CD. We want tutorials, workspace, tutorial, git commit dash all. Actually, status, git add. What do we add? Git commit properties for page objects. That's what we're working on. Push. Okay, so now that we have our change, right? We're putting our change in. It's on master. We will come back to Jenkins. And when you rebuild this, it will always recheck out the code. So we'll have an update on the code. And now we're going to run Chrome. So remember we ran it with Firefox. It's set to Firefox in our code here. If I go to our properties file, Firefox. But I'm setting Chrome. So it should work. It's going. It's going. Look at that. Chrome. Look at Chrome. It's doing. Ah, exciting. So now when you want to build a thing and product like, oh, can you please build it on Firefox and Chrome? You can just, oh yeah, actually you can do it. Here's where the job is, and kick off the job and run away. So I think that will conclude the kind of introduction to Jenkins on setup and just getting your jobs just running. I really hope this was helpful. Hopefully next week, I know I was working on, I was messing up left and right. But now that we got this going, we can actually start doing some really cool things later. So until then, I'll see you guys online.